Congresswoman, the president has opted to de-link China, human rights, and trade, breaking his campaign promise. You will introduce legislation to try to overturn the president's wishes?
Well, first of all, when you're talking about the president delinking, what the president did not only go back on a campaign promise, but on his own executive order, which was the law of the land for this year. Any delinking that the president might have wanted to suggest for the future was certainly open to debate. But I'm disappointed, of course, in the president's decision. When he was leading up to the decision, he said, "I will base my decision on the facts as they exist." The facts are these. China has not met the conditions of the president's order. It's disconcerting to see the secretary say that China has met the must-meet condition on exports of prison labor goods to the United States. In addition to that, the Chinese government got from President Clinton. He went beyond Bush. He not only said we're going to delink trade and human rights, but he also said that he gave them credit for adherence to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So I think that this was a very unfortunate decision. Last year we went along with the executive order, so it was a word to Congress, it's a word to those who thirst for freedom throughout the world, and it was his word to the Beijing regime that unless those conditions were met, MFN would not be extended. We will not be reversing the president's decision. What we will be putting, because MFN will, well, it could be defeated, but realistically, we would be putting other sanctions in our legislation to put pressure on the Chinese to release the prisoners.
Do you have the votes to impose those sanctions?
I have never assumed anything as far as my colleagues are concerned, but I do know we have the arguments, and we have a great deal of support in the Congress. The grievances as far as China are concerned range from proliferation of weapons, of nuclear weapons, to trade concerns and human rights concerns. And on the subject of trade, I might say that we believe that the legislation will find a good following in the Congress, because in the past few weeks, the business community has created this myth that the United States is the job winner in this debate. I think again, the facts are these. The United States last year had $460 billion worth of exports. Less than 2% of those exports went to China, whereas 40% of the Chinese exports came to the United States. In addition to that, to hear the discussion, you would think that China granted MFN to us. They do not. Most American products made in America are not allowed into the Chinese market, and there are a handful of industries where Chinese will buy those products. But by and large, that is not the case, and we are at a great disadvantage in our trade relationship, as is testified to by the great trade deficit we suffer with China.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.